Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Well, everyone's going a bit stir crazy these days with recent events in the news and whatnot. And by the way, one reason I keep saying that is I mentioned the coronavirus or COVID-19. People always say, well, hey, Steve, one of them is the illness, one of them is the virus. You used it wrong. Recent events in the news, I used it right. So Ezekiel sent me a story and Mark sent me the same story, but from different sources. And this is one of those things you have to try to kind of piece together, but the headline is pretty clear. A driver in Michigan was cited for going 110 miles an hour over the speed limit. He was clocked at 180 miles per hour. And he was doing it in a 70 mile per hour zone on I-75. So I'll talk first about the story from MLive, which is written by Edward Pivos. And then we'll talk about the story from motortrend.com because they pieced together a little more. Some detective work on this. But out of Berlin Township, which is down near Monroe, Michigan, Michigan freeways, of course, especially at night lately, have been quiet. But that does not mean the state troopers aren't out. In fact, they are out. And they clocked a guy the other day with their radar gun doing 180 miles per hour in a 70 mile per hour zone. We know this because they posted a photograph of the ticket with redacted portions on Twitter. So they tweeted the photograph. And it says you can see the photograph in the article, but you can't because they've taken the ticket down, or at least they've taken the tweet down, at least when I looked. They issued the ticket around 11:45 p.m. on Sunday evening, April 19th, on southbound I-75 near Sigler Road, like I said, Monroe County. Michigan State Troopers say they've seen more drivers traveling over the speed limits during the stay-at-home order. We've also talked about in California, they said that there is less traffic, but the accidents they're seeing are worse because people are doing crazier stuff. There's fewer people on the roads. And like I said, people are getting stir crazy. The Michigan State Police has seen an increase with high speeds on roadways during this pandemic, they posted on Twitter. MSP wants people to know just because there is less traffic on the roads and warmer weather, there are no excuses for speeding. Drive safe. And then they posted the photograph. So that's the ticket that someone was issued for doing 110 miles per hour over the speed limit. Now, you start asking further questions. What was the ticket issued for? Was it simply excess speed? What about reckless driving? Was there anything else involved? And by the way, what kind of car can so easily do 180 miles per hour on the freeway without testing the limits of physics? Well, here's the deal. We know the vehicle is a Dodge, and we're getting this from a motortrend.com article written by Alexander Stoklosa. And he apparently did a bunch of research to figure this stuff out. So he says that we should put our hats on and remind everyone that flagrantly violating traffic laws is something we don't condone. So talking about this, we're not trying to encourage this. We're trying to dissect it. We're studying it, okay? And so he points out that approaching 200 miles per hour on public roads is insane and wildly dangerous. And it is, by the way. It is. Number one, the roads aren't built for speeds like that. And there's junk on our roads. I've hit all kinds of weird stuff on Michigan roads. And there's also deer out and about, especially after dark. And I've been driving along and had a deer cross in front of me. I've seen deer just sitting by the side of the road, looking around, waiting for somebody to jump in front of. And so, if you go zooming by and you're doing 100 miles an hour and the deer is doing 0, you can look at this relativistically. And of course, if you hit the deer, the closing speed. So the deer might not be moving, but it will hurt you. So here's the question. Michigan State Police posted the partially redacted photo of the actual ticket issued to the offending driver and lists the vehicle as a 2016 Dodge. The question is, assuming the car is stock, because it might not be, but assuming the car is stock, what type of car did Dodge build in 2016 that you could drive that could hit 180 miles per hour without much terrible imagination? And so here's the deal. In 2016, the only Dodges factory capable of at least 180 miles per hour were the 707 horsepower Charger SRT Hellcat or the equally powerful Challenger SRT Hellcat, and of course, the V10 powered Viper sports car. Now, the lesser 392 versions of the Charger and the Challenger topped out at an estimated 175. Again, we're going off factory specs and some other stuff that's out there. And the writer of this article points out that if the vehicle tops at 175, to say that they're clocking 180, I mean, it's possible, downwind, downhill, floored and some other atmospheric conditions working just right, maybe tweak another 5, but we'll assume the guy's not redlining this thing and really doing that. The Hellcats and the Viper would have no issue achieving a $180, as we say. That's according to Dodge. Now, Dodge says in their testing, they got the vehicles up to 199 and 204, and they also apparently got a Viper up to 206. So those are the 3 suspect cars, okay? But nearly more surprising than the Dodge's 180 mile per hour speed is where it was heading. The Dodge was traveling southbound through Monroe County, meaning it was approaching the Ohio state line quickly. No Michiganian would ever speed toward Ohio, and anyone familiar with Ohio's reputation for strict freeway policing would know better than to come in that hot. But he's joking. We know everybody's cooped up during the coronavirus pandemic, and it might be tempting to get out and stretch your car's legs, but really don't. Excessive speeds have been observed in multiple states in recent weeks, and crashes have been getting worse. Now, here's the sad part. The man apparently said to the police officer, because it was written in the ticket, "My fault. I was speeding with another vehicle. Sorry." Now, as the attorney in the room, I'm going to tell you that sentence right there might be the one that costs you. Number one, you're saying my fault, so you just lost your defense. Not that you had one, but, it's always best not to just admit fault at the side of the road. But to suggest you are speeding with someone else, okay? I was speeding with another vehicle implies that you're racing. Contests of speed and drag racing are both illegal. And in fact, in Michigan, drag racing is a very serious offense for which you can be cited and it can be written as a misdemeanor if they want to. Now, here's the bigger question. And I had to do some deciphering, and I found a copy of the redacted ticket online. Somebody saved it before the tweet got deleted. So what I saw shows that this speeding ticket was written as a civil infraction. It was simply written as a speeding ticket. And tickets in Michigan over a certain amount is just a big fine. And by big fine, I mean it's literally $4 for every mile per hour over a certain thing. So this could add up pretty quickly to become an expensive ticket. And it's not the kind of thing that your insurance companies would be happy seeing across their desk. But more importantly, it could have been written up as reckless driving, as racing. There's a bunch of different ways this could have been written up. So and again, I'm speculating here, but I think I've got to kind of tip my hat to the Michigan State Police, because I don't think they threw the book at this guy. It looks to me like they wrote him for it. He got a ticket. He's going to pay. But they could have made things worse. They probably could have pulled him over, written him for a misdemeanor, and impounded his car if they'd wanted to. But like I said, sometimes you meet the nice cops. Sometimes you meet the not so nice cops. It's like any other profession out there. There's good lawyers, there's bad lawyers. There's good plumbers, there's bad plumbers, okay? So, again, the driver was cited for going 110 miles an hour over the speed limit. And this is one of those stories where it looks like the guy may have set some sort of record. And it's not a record we're advocating people should try to break or anything like that, but just pointing it out. So, it's going to be an expensive ticket. If he just goes into court and pays it, or if he hires an attorney to try to mitigate some damage, I'm not sure what you can do. Because he said, my fault. My fault. I was speeding with another vehicle. Which makes you wonder how fast that guy was going, because he got away. Is he going faster? Things we'll never know. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Change is inevitable, except from a vending machine.